I usually tell myself I should make a script, and I was going to make one, but I kind of prefer to go unscripted. Over the last couple of weeks, few months, I have gotten to A cam, or DP I should say, and then also B cam on a bunch of other projects. I think one of the things I like about B camming is, for one, I don't have to make decisions on the day. You know, I come in and somebody else makes decisions, and if that's what they want to do, then that's what that's what we're going to do. I've worked with this DP for about 4 years now. His name's Tom. He's a good friend of mine, and we did a lot of natural lighting stuff. And I'm going to get to that. That's going to be the last part of this video, because I really liked the images that we were making with just about no lights. And when I say just about, I mean there were no lights. No, I lied. And as I say just about no lights because out of like 5 or 6 interviews, only one was intentionally lit. Those were a different project entirely. And then one of them, just because of the way the sun was hitting us, we ended up having to put a couple lights out just to get enough lift in the person's face. I've talked about in the past on how I color grade my footage, so I won't spend too much time on that. I'm just going to... So this first interview is a completely different DP. We shot this in the studio, Georgia Public Broadcasting Studio. Nothing too spectacular about this. I don't know how to annotate on this. Can I do this? Annotations. Oh, look at that. What am I? Wandering DP? Okay, so over here we had a silk here, right? And then we had 2, look at this, 1x1 light panels to hit her face here. How do you make it go away? Okay, anyway, we had 2 silk 1x1 panels. Then for these, we had these little lights. You can't see them. There's one down here, and one over here. Can I annotate over there? I can. And that, ooh, you can move. And that was giving us these up lights. This was a small, not a LEGO, dado light. This back here was a little dado light. We had that hitting there. Here's another GPB project that I got to DP. They were really trying to embrace these lights, and if we had more time, we would have done something about this hotspot back here. We had a 5-foot softbox right over here on the side of the frame, kind of going this way to imitate the windows. I was really happy that we had enough level, and it was overcast that day. So we weren't really blown out on the windows, but if we look at false color, I think we could have probably used a little bit more. Yeah, well, I guess not too, it's not too bad. This little blue light over here is a tube light, and the cable is just hidden behind all this stuff. And I think that gave us this nice little accent pop. But this one over here is just kind of like something. When I was doing this gimbal movement, I didn't notice that it was on a 20 mil, so wide. I didn't notice my 14 mil rod or whatever it is was sticking out the bottom of the frame, so I had to redo that later. But it was a fun project. That's the same 300, and it is double diffused, which is fun. There's a Nanlite 300 FC or the FS. It's selling us like $300. I'm gonna blur this guy's face because I don't know if we're allowed. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this project. It's nothing like criminal or anything. It's just the client was a fairly large client. Whatever. It's like 160, 170 of you guys. This project was for an Amazon doc for the same company that shot stuff, or the same production company that does stuff like Formula One Drive to Survive on Netflix. And I thought it was really interesting for me, at least, because I had seen that documentary late last year or early this year, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, I would love to shoot with them, to work with them one day. And my buddy Tom, the one I was telling you about, he calls me up and he's like, hey, are you free this day? And I was like, yeah, what's up? He goes, well, we have a project coming up for this Amazon documentary. If you're free, you're gonna get a text in a little bit from the producer. And sure enough, it worked out. I was free on that day, and Tom was DPing it, so I got to work on it as a B cam. Off to the frame. Our key light was a 300X with a 5-foot softbox, so I'll kind of draw that out. That's a square. So we had the, well, that's not a big enough SAR. We had this massive softbox, 5 feet, kind of just hitting him. And I think it was at 5%. We were shooting on FX9 and FX6, my FX6. And what was super fun for me was on this project, we also got to shoot on TLS rehoused Leica R's 1.4. He was on a 30, no, he was on a 50, and I was on an 85. So it was kind of fun. I got to use my little Tilta autofocus to keep him in focus because he would move a little bit, and we were shooting at 1.4. But anyway, key light, like 5% power. Then we had a tube light right above him, a little 2-foot Amaran. I can't remember what percentage it was. And then this little circular hotspot back here was a 60C, the aperture Amaran 60C, just kind of on the floor, shooting some light up. We had a 4x4 beadboard. We had a 4x4 beadboard on this side to give him the bounce back here. And then we had another tube light kind of near his shoulder. Ooh, well, that'll work. Stop. That's a tube light. Ooh. Oh, we had this tube light here. It was a nanlite tube light. But anyway, it was set pretty low intensity to kind of give him a little scratch that you can't see because I have to blur his face. But that was most of the setup. And it was just, everything was blacked out. We were in this hotel in Atlanta, and that was it. Let's see, let's remove this. So this is another Georgia Public Broadcasting project that I worked on. Again, I really like this one because it looked very natural. This one was super easy to light. Kind of a difficult place to get to. This was at the UGA Botanical Gardens. We had a 4x floppy, just giving her this neg here. No hair light, no nothing. And then we had a silk on this side, diffusing the sun that was coming in. You can see, you know, that softness there. And then we had a bounce board, beadboard, the same one from before, right here to kind of just push any kind of level. I actually think it was, oh, oh. Let's just move that out. Look at that, figured it out. And then we had a beadboard kind of here to just give her that lift right back up. And that was fun. I think it was nice because it gave us this really nice soft look, and it was all analog. Tom wanted us to shoot. Tom wanted to shoot that way, and I thought it was a cool project, a cool attempt. Here's another interview that we did. Why is that not full screen? Here's another interview that we did. Same thing. Diffusion, bounce, flag. That was it. I don't know if her eyes catched it. No, they do not. And then for this one, yet again, the exact same thing. Diffusion, diffusion, bounce, neg. Actually, this neg was all like this. It was really easy. It looked really nice. I actually saw an alligator here, so that was fun. It was just like swimming across the back. That was in Jekyll Island. This was a little harder to set up. We use, instead of a 4x, we use a 2x4 beadboard, kind of like that, giving some lift up. And then the diffusion was much further back on a menace arm because we had to put the, not a menace arm, a baby boom. Put on a baby boom. So the C-stand was in the dirt. We made like this little contraption to hold the C-stand to a couple of Cardellini's on this handrail here. And then keep it out of frame. Super, super easy. Loved it. Now, I had brought my Godox light flow panels thinking I would maybe use it to give a scratch. And we did kind of get to it, but we also didn't get to it. This was some piece talking about turtles. So I got to ride around on this golf cart. This guy every single day during sea turtle hatching season rides out on the beach and checks for turtles, stop track signs. So they didn't give me a specific shot list, so I just started doing things I thought was cool. Cool little insert stuff. Oh, that's Tom right there. A wild Tom. I had this bright idea that I would run ahead of the crew to the next turtle sighting site. They have these little like mesh flag things. So I like took off running. Also, I'm not a runner and I had the camera with me. But anyway, I ran off to it and I finally got there. And they were like, yeah, we were waiting for you to stop running so we could go. I was like, whatever, dude. And then this was our next interview. We did that the following morning. I can tell you right now it's a little too cool, so I'm gonna warm it up. Boom, look at that. And that is just a nice little, I'm gonna try HDR wheels, global. Yeah, look at that. So the following day we had these two other interviews. It was a big silk 4x4 on the back versus the front, because we just wanted to keep it soft. And then a 4x4 bounce board right there. To get that return level on her, and it was just like literally as close as we could get it, you know, out of frame. And then this was the interview that we ended up needing to light. We were in this spot that we thought the sun was going to hit it sooner with more light, so we were going to be able to diffuse and then bounce like we were and we had been. But we had to move forward, like, you know, when you're shooting out in the field. We were 6 hours from the studio. We just had to move forward with the schedule, and we ended up busting out the 2 light panel 1x1s, shooting into the bounce, and then that bounce coming back towards her. We again had the silk over, we had the 4x neg, and then we had the bounce here when we had 2 little 1x1 panels side by side shooting right into her. And I think at first it looked fine, but when the sun comes out even more and kind of gives her a little bit more wrap, it looks better. It sounds a little spicy back there. But, I mean, overall it looks pretty nice. The takeaway, I guess, is one, get a large silk, 4x4 silk, and a large 4x4 or so bounce. You can get the bounces like not Publix, Home Depot, I think. And then if you can, get yourself a 300 watt light, a nice diffusion. You could probably use a silk from before, and you can light some stuff. All right, well, if you guys like this, I'll do another one. I'm just rambling now, so peace.